Welcome to the Freedom Filled Life podcast. I'm your host, Shay Brown, co founder of the Bucketlist Bombshells, where we serve women who are building, growing, and scaling service based online businesses. And today I am bringing on a best friend, sister, and business partner duo, Marielle and Michelle. These are actually former Bucketlist Bombshell Academy students, and I'm really excited to have them share their journey today with everybody who is listening. So, if you're wondering who Marielle and Michelle are, they are sisters, best friends, and business partners. As I mentioned, they have a brand and website design studio called Elle Elle Design Co, where they help women, online service providers, wellness professionals, and creative entrepreneurs who are struggling to show up authentically online and develop their personal brand and website so they can reach their dream clients. All right, let's get into today's episode and welcome to the podcast, Marielle and Michelle.
Hi. Thank you so much for having us. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I'd love for each of you to introduce yourself so we can recognize the voices of who's talking. I think that could be fun. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
and make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Marielle, I'll hand it to you
Yeah.
first. Okay.
Yes, I'm Marielle. I am one of the halves of Elle Elle Design. And yeah, I'm the Show It website designer, and I'm super excited to be on here. Yes, I'm
Amazing.
Michelle, the other half of Elle Elle Design Co, and I'm the brand designer.
Oh, very fun. Well, we're going to talk about your business partnership today, and we're going to talk about your journey building this brand and website design studio. So, before we get into kind of your full story and the questions I have around that, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that business I had mentioned earlier and the services you offer and the types of clients that you work with?
Yay, perfect. Yeah, so we have a brand and web design studio called Elle Elle Design Co. And we've mainly been working with women entrepreneurs in the service industry and kind of starting branching out toward like wellness professionals and kind of others in that industry. But we have mainly focused on women entrepreneurs in like the same
Mm.
space. And yeah, we offer branding. Michelle is the brand strategist, and I focus on Show It website design.
Very cool. What made you guys choose Show It over the other platforms like Squarespace and WordPress?
Yeah, great question. I've tried them all. I've tried Show It, I tried WordPress, and I just never really found the flow in it. Um, and then I stumbled upon Show It and I tried it for our own website at the time. And that is kind of when I fell in love with Show It and kind of the simplicity around it and how you could basically do anything in there because that's what I really fell for. So yeah, so that's why I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pin down, Show It, and just be 100% in this platform because I felt that it was such a great platform for others too to really learn and grasp on their own as well.
Yeah, I love that. We actually switched to Show It as well. And I feel like it gives the creative flexibility because I was mind blown. I was a WordPress website designer, much more on the
Um,
technical side, like
yeah.
plugins and, doing a little bit of coding here and there. But we switched over to Show It. And then my mind was blown as the like non-visual side of the development, which is what Cast does. And it was like you could place anything anywhere.
I
Like
know.
doing that in WordPress, I'm sure like doing that in WordPress, I
That is
had to
hard.
like exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's so cool. I love that. So yeah, for anyone listening, we definitely highly recommend building on Show It. Another cool thing that I think is really great is that you are business partners. Obviously, everybody listening knows that this is a business partnership as well on my end, but you guys are also sisters. And so I have a sister as well. And I don't know if I could go into business with her. I adore her, but I don't know if she's listening. She's probably laughing at that, but
Yeah.
because she's the more chill one. So
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
we
yeah,
have those differences. They're
yeah,
like we've had our challenges and our
yeah,
battles. We still do. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I think we kind of separate those skills and she has so much that she brings to the table that I couldn't do, and then vice versa. So we make it work, but we have our challenges.
That and I think that that's so important with business
Mhm.
partnerships, like having those separate skill sets, having that separate like lens.
Yeah.
So when you guys were first starting out, I know you took our courses way back, like one of some of our OG students here. What made you decide to go into business together versus going out and doing it on your own?
Ooh, so we definitely decided once we kind of took the courses, because once we did that, we had no idea about the online world. So we both purchased the courses like separately, and the plan was to do it like separate, but then it was like, why are we doing that? Like we're kind of around each other 100% of the time, and like why not do this together? So we did that, but we kind of did things separately. We did like she would do branding a website and I would do the exact same thing, just with, with clients. But then we ended up like I hated doing the branding portion and she hated doing the website portion. So it was like, oh, you know what? Let's do it a little bit differently. And that's kind of how we learned and kind of got into that. But it just made sense going and doing it together because we were so close and it was kind of the same type of dream we had.
Yeah.
So it just made sense to kind of do that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a similar journey. Cass and I obviously had separate businesses at the time, but then I was offering website design, but I hated doing the brand side of it and the graphic design side of it. And so we would work together there. And then she would bring me into her projects. And so this was before we started Bucketlist Bombshells, but you're just doing the same thing and we were traveling, you're in each other's world. It was just so natural. And I think that was really cool because it sort of set that foundation for us to go into business together later.
I love that. Yeah. Because that's a lot of the similar. It just happened naturally and it just made sense to do it like that, like you said, with you and Cass. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
So fun. So fun. So kind of going into your business and how you got started in your journey, we have listeners in our audience from all stages. So launch, growth, scale. Can you share with us what your journey looked like from like just getting started to now you're running this really successful business? Kind of what did that look like?
Yeah, I love that. I probably have a different view than you, so you can say your opinion on this after.
Cool. Love it.
But I think the journey, it was very like when we took like Bucketlist Bombshells was the first course we had ever taken. So that like just popped up on like a Facebook ad and like it wasn't even like in our radar. We were sitting in like this studio apartment, like we just moved across country to the US to like go to college, but then all the courses we wanted were gone. So we were like, what are we going to do? And then that ad popped up and we just quit college, did that and just went full on.
Wow.
So yeah, that was it. That was pretty fun. And no, we were just, that was
It's not for us.
not for us. And we were like, you know what? Let's do this. This feels so right.
Yeah.
And we took these courses and we knew like, okay, this is what we were meant to do. And after that, we really took a lot of courses, but then in the tech course, we saw like you could become a social media manager, you could become this and that. So we had a lot of like almost like a identity crisis is like, oh, let's become this, let's do that, let's do this. So we kind of did that for a while until we kind of came back to, you know what, we actually really passionate about brand and website design. So we'll stick with that. And after doing that, that is kind of when we started narrowing in our skills, investing in courses, doing those things. But yeah, it takes time. And I think we went into it thinking that this would happen fast because that's what we were hearing. So it was very difficult in the beginning because we were thinking like, are we doing something wrong? Are we not cut out for this, but like when we just started narrowing the focus on doing brand and website design and actually started like building our brand around that is kind of when things started to like, oh, okay, this is actually, we had to pick and stick and actually, go at it. So yeah, I think that was kind of the biggest things in the beginning, but just stick to it. You can always change. You can always, evolve or, remove or do things like that. But I think like picking and sticking in the beginning and going full on, I think that is definitely the best thing. in my
Yes, I completely agree. And I feel like I also had a similar journey too. I kind of tried and dabbled in a bit of things before I found website design. But then further, even I changed and I became an operations business manager. And that's where I found my sweet spot. But I
Mm.
really wouldn't have gotten there. I feel like if I hadn't sort of just been, you know, dabbling in that arena and then finding my niche, which was in health and wellness coaches. And I
Nice.
was working with them with website design. And then I realized they needed me after website design to do operations, which wasn't, you wouldn't think like, oh, you wouldn't ask a website designer, but I was building their funnels out. And it was kind of like, well, who's going to manage these? And so it was an
Ah,
interesting transition there. So I feel like it's important to really find first, like what you guys said, like go into a skill that is just like specific,
mm.
try a couple, but then like pick one and then find your niche. So that's where I like industry niche, still pretty broad, but eventually you can kind of niche further and further.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
very, very similar to like the story. It was just, and there were so many industry things like tripping us up all the time, like niche.
Mm,
You had to pick a niche. You
yeah.
had to stick
Yeah.
to it. You know, that was so hard on that I think
Mm,
that whole held us back too for so long. So definitely like just like we just, like we loved working with other women
mm-hmm.
who were service providers or starting their online businesses. Like we really enjoyed working with them. So that's kind of like we were like, you know what? That'll be the niche. And we are specific with Show It. So that'll be another niche. And then we'll call it a day. Yeah. So that
Michelle, did you want to add anything to the journey? Maybe like from where you guys got started to kind of the next chapter. What did that growth stage look like for you?
It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was very challenging, but we got there in the end, and we're
Mm-hmm.
really happy with we are where we are today.
Yeah.
So I don't know, she said it pretty well, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest.
Great. No worries at all. I
Yeah.
love that. So, moving into my next question, I do want to ask it to you individually. So, this is a really fun one. But if you could go back in time in your business, what moment in time would you choose? And what advice would you have for that version of you in your business at that time?
I would definitely go back to maybe a year into the business and just just tell my other self in that stage that it gets better, it gets easy. Like,
Mm,
okay, it doesn't really, it gets better and easier, but not to be so strict and hard on myself, and that
mm,
things take time to grow and kind of nurture, and it doesn't happen like in a quick fix, that this is something you build over time. And that if you keep at it and don't quit, don't give up, then you can't really lose. So
mm.
that's what I would tell my other self. Other
Yeah.
self. Yeah.
Other self. Yeah. I love that. Michelle, what about you? What moment in time would you pick? And it could be yesterday, it can be any moment in time.
I think I would probably go back to the beginning when we
Ooh.
first started,
Mm-hmm.
because of course I'm like an introvert, so I'm like scared all the
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, am I doing it right? Am I like all that, like all the thoughts in my head, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just tell myself that it's going to be okay. And if you stay strong and keep on going, you will succeed in the end.
Oh, such positive messages. I feel like we need to get them like printed and put on a wall and just
I
like
know.
remind our younger
Yeah,
selves, like from me to
yeah,
me.
I
yeah,
know, that's so true. I think we can be so hard on ourselves in
yeah,
this industry
Yeah.
and just not give ourselves enough, like positive feedback,
yeah.
or
Credit.
Hmm.
just we're always on to the next thing, and like
Yeah,
on to the, like, oh, you didn't hit that. You have to, if you don't hit it next time, like you
Yeah.
suck basically. So
yeah,
we just need not need to be nicer.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're talking about that right now in we call it Bucketlist Bombshells Launch Camp. It's our new entry level program for those looking to launch a business like you ladies did through the Bucketlist Bombshells Academy. And we're
Mhm.
talking right now about setting that CEO mindset from the beginning, like
Yeah.
working with, our mindset, our self talk, rewiring those neural pathways to really help us view ourselves as business owners. I think there's this disconnect when we get started where we're starting a business and we kind of use language like, oh, it's just this, it's just a freelance, it's just a side hustle, I'm not sure what I'm doing. But
Yeah.
you're doing the thing, you know what you're doing. In a sense, you are experimenting, you're trying things out, and then you learn how to do all of those things, and then you build that confidence muscle, right? But to
Exactly.
actually
Yeah.
get women over the hurdle of even just starting out, like the advice that you guys would go back in time and give yourself, it's really like having the courage, and the confidence will follow, and really rewiring those thought patterns and stepping into like, I own a business, I'm
Yeah.
here, I'm showing up, I'm providing a service, I am needed, people need my services, stuff like that. So it's just really
Love
cool.
that.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's amazing to have,
Yeah.
and it's so crucial, I think, to have that step like with
Yeah.
mindset. And I think all the ladies a part of that will benefit so
Oh, yeah.
much from that because it's so important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So fun. So, kind of going the opposite direction of like, what part about this journey for you is like, has been the most fulfilling aspect of being a business owner? I'd love to hear from both of you. Kind of what has this running your own business brought into your life?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
For me, it's definitely been being able to have my own schedule and being able to plan things around how I want my days to look, and just having that freedom. I
Mm.
think
Mhm.
definitely freedom, and you can just basically close your laptop and you have your whole work life thing in your laptop. I think
Yeah.
that has been like the biggest fulfillment for me with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally what she said. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I love naps. So
Yeah, girl.
having my nap, I need that. So having just to close my laptop and take a
Mhm.
nap and then come right back. That's
Yeah.
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 And I love that because we get to define our own schedule. So we know
Yeah.
when we're best able to show up for our clients, for our work, versus, more traditional 9 to 5s where it's very much dictated our schedule. Things have changed, I think, a little bit with
Yeah.
work from home, but I still love that, I'm going to dance class in the middle of my day today because I
I
want
love
to.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then not because you have to fit it into someone
Yeah.
else's, schedule.
Yeah,
Fit it in.
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. It was the only available option for the type of class I wanted to do. And I thought,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
like what?
Yeah.
Let's do
You
it.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
I
so
love that.
fun. That's so fun. So it's kind of switching gears and speaking to your partnership. I know that that's definitely something that our audience has asked us about. How does that work? They're maybe considering going into a partnership. So you kind of touched on it in the beginning, but I am curious how you define your roles within the company. Is there overlap, or is it like really clearly defined roles?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I definitely think that took time
Yeah.
to learn like what we were good at, and not putting on that pressure
Yeah.
as well. Because we did that in the beginning. We were like, we both have to show up on stories. We both have to both. We always had that mindset, and she hates stories and showing up and being, like it, like she can be sick for days before like a call like this, because she's so nervous. And
Oh,
for me, it just comes very naturally, and I'm an extrovert, so it doesn't bother me. So we actually took like last month, and we're like, you know what? why are we why are we pressuring things? Like,
yeah.
this is our business. I thought that was the reason why we did this, is because we wanted to do things our way. So now we're taking a more of a, because our social media manager came with this idea though, and she was like, why not take like an approach of like an introvert extrovert type of way,
Yeah.
like showing up on stories. And I would show up on stories, but I would record her, being like, here's the extrovert, like, doing her
Introvert.
thing,
Yeah.
introvert, I mean. That's right. And yeah, and kind of taking that approach. And that is when
Yeah.
we kind of things started like shifting a bit, and like,
Yeah.
you know what, let's do the things that you're good
Yeah.
at, and I'll do what I can do. And then we just kind of intertwine it in a way that works for both.
Yeah.
And that, I think, just giving yourself more grace in that
Yeah.
aspect. And especially too, like if your sisters, like your siblings, so there will be fights, there will be a lot of discussions.
Yeah.
But at the end the day, we always figure them out, and we're
Yeah.
always, you know, like basically like we both have a 50-50 say in this. Like we have to agree, you know, and figure out like how we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely fights and challenges and stuff, but you can work through them if you
Yeah.
guys are really wanting to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such an interesting journey. I think so many business partnerships go through that if they didn't say define it right at the beginning when there's like a really clear skill set difference. But coming to that, even for Cass and I, she took the lead on our, say, showing up on our Instagram or, being more, I would speak at some events and but she would speak at the majority of them. And kind of what you're saying, like kind of, leaning into our strengths, leaning into our personalities. I would take a bigger role behind the scenes with our team and that kind of thing. So I think that that's really important. We also reached that crossroads where we really needed to define our roles within the business and lean into our strength. And then I feel like that amplified the business itself and had a really positive ripple out effect as well.
Yeah, I really think it does, because like when you're trying to force yourself to do something that you really don't want to do, I think that can really shine through, and you just end up like hating everything, and the business can end up being like a burden.
Yeah.
And and we definitely felt that for a while, and that was like the opposite effect that we wanted. So we just had to sit down and be like, you know what? We're not supposed to be like everyone else. We're not supposed to do things like everyone else. Let's do it our way and try to figure it out that way.
Yeah. So great. So great. So then kind of walk me through either like a day in the life or a week in the life of like, what do you individually, what do your days look like, your work days?
Yeah. So it is very much like, I think right now we're kind of in a season of just like rinse and repeat, I feel. So it is like up 9 in the morning. We like right now we're living in the Canary Islands, so we try to want to like get outside and like just be outside when the sun is out. And then we're more creative in the evening time and want to work more in the evenings. We've tried to like switch that and balance that, but it's very day to day. Like one day we're like, you know what, I'm not feeling working until like 7 this evening, and then we'll do that. Another day we're like, you know what, we'll work in the morning and maybe not do it in the afternoon. So it's a very not a set routine. Like I know like a lot of people have like their morning routines and evening routines and stuff like that, and we've never really had that. We've done things very much like on a day-to-day how we feel basis, basically.
How fun.
Very boring.
No, I think it's like very what you had said before, freedom filled. This is the Freedom Filled Life podcast. So I feel like it is all about, choosing what your weeks and your days look like. So as you're, working on the business and growing the business, like, can you talk to me a little bit about, what does your team structure look like and sort of what do your, client funnels look like? How are we keeping those maintained with such a freedom filled schedule?
Yeah, I love that. So what we kind of do is that I take care of all like client onboarding, client setups, doing all kind of like those back end things. So what we usually have is that we have our clients come in, we onboard them into our product system, which we use is Notion. So we have everything kind of laid out there with the project wise, and we have Slack where we use for like communicating and stuff like that, because we really love taking a collaborative approach with our clients. So we think that's much more fun. Like we always come with like our professional opinion and kind of guided it that way, but we really love having that collaboration with them as well, so that they feel like this is actually my brand or my website, and that they have like a big part and say of everything. And that is kind of like the biggest approach we've done. And so we usually yeah, let me know if I'm totally off track on the question.
No, you're great. No, I love this. Yeah. Whatever
Yeah,
our listeners love to hear how every in business is kind of run either behind the scenes or even if you want to talk about the marketing or the like attracting clients, like we just like to get a little bit more nitty-gritty with it with our
okay,
podcast.
well, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
Keep
yeah, I
talking,
love
girl.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love this. So that's great. Yeah, that's kind of like our project system and kind of what we use there. And we have a very like follow-up approach in there. Like we have a Slack community where they come in after working with us so that we can always like if they need stuff, they need anything done, like anything like that. So we can always like keep on supporting them because we really wanted that aspect to it. And yeah, like with marketing and stuff as well, I'm gonna be honest, we're really trying to simplify this year because I think after listening to your guys' podcast as well, and I think there's a lot of there was one episode I remember where it was like you're doing all the things with marketing and not giving it enough time to let it grow. And I was like, yeah, that is definitely us. We try all the things, it won't work. Like we're like, yeah, we're 2 weeks in, it's not working. Okay, on to the next. And that has definitely been the problem. So
Yeah.
we have tried to like settle back and try to look at things more long term this time. And now we're trying, like, we invested in an SEO specialist to kind of go back in the back end and set everything up like in the end for us there. And now starting to focus on like blogging and just, and doing those things that are more long term. Also keeping that on Instagram with like showing up and just doing stories, but just doing what feels good on Instagram and not that panic that we have to be on Instagram or else we won't get any clients. So yeah, that is pretty much kind of what is going on. Do you have anything to add here? So I'm not
Not the only one talking. I'm
chatty.
so sorry.
No, don't be. It's a great flow. Yeah. If you want to add anything, Michelle, I'm more than happy to hear and listen to that as well.
Yes. No surprise, but I don't think I have anything to add actually. She speaks like so well and she
Yeah.
covers everything. I'm like, nothing to add.
That's also totally okay as well. And I actually wanted to kind of touch on something you had said about Instagram. And I feel like right now there is this extra pressure to show up constantly and like only get our leads from that one channel because that's kind of what we're seeing with this big move away from advertising and more into organic content creation. But if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel aligned, if it's not something you're willing to show up for, like that's definitely going to come across the screen. And I just also wanted to remind our listeners that that's not the only platform out there. That's not the only way to get clients. I have seen lots of different strategies work, but I think what is the most key part, which is what you were talking to, is finding that consistency. So choosing one, doubling down and allowing for it, especially when it's organic, allowing for it the space and time to grow. Because it sounds like you already have ways of getting clients. And so either doubling down on that or allowing a new strategy that space and time to grow. So I love that you mentioned that and that you are like trying that out and you're giving yourself more of that, commitment to the platform.
Yeah, no, I think and that's kind of what I wanted to like do for like the listeners as well, just to because I know like we've been in those shoes as well. Like you have all the platforms there and you have no idea like where to start, where to even like where to find the clients and stuff like that. And I definitely think it's it's all about finding that one platform that you enjoy and actually want to, do things on. And of course, like referrals has definitely been a big, like I would say 85% of like where we actually get our clients. So I definitely think that is if you can hone in on your onboarding system or anything to make like the process or the project itself special and something that they really want to like that is one of the things that we really honed down on because we felt that restraint against Instagram and all the marketing tools. So we were like, okay, what if we, make our process and onboarding system and like really just map that out. So that is such a fun experience for them that then when they're done, they're like, oh my God, we want to scream their names from the rooftop, you know? And I think that is what helped us get us over that. And then it just felt naturally to want to share that on Instagram and on stories. And even if you're not posting on Instagram, like we've been just posting on stories now, and because we're not like starting until like February with our content again. And we were like, everyone was like, no, we have to do like in January, we have to go full on in with content. And we were like, no, we're gonna do stories, show up, and they know here,
Yeah.
we'll be on here, share our life, share our work, do stuff like that. And yeah, and just not put that pressure on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's so interesting because we see in our Scale with Purpose Mastermind program, we're really helping women just scale past that tipping point of the six figures and grow beyond that. They're all coming in at the start of the program with pretty much 85 to 90% of their business coming from referrals. I think
Yeah.
that is such a key way to really focus in on as you are developing your, client finding strategies. Once you get a few clients in, it's the same thing I did. I didn't have a website. As a website designer, I do not recommend this, but I would go back in time and tell her to put a website up. I was getting website design clients without a website because of my referrals. And that's really how I was able to, even in my niche, then again, like I said, I started working with all types of online coaches and then narrowed that down later, but they talk to each other. They're the ones in the communities when, like what you said, create a great experience for your clients and then ask for the referral, create an incentive program, give them a reason to talk about you because you created a stellar, delivered on a stellar product or service. That is probably one of the key ways that you're actually going to get closer to that six-figure mark. And then after that, that's where we're really inside of our program anyways. We take it to the next level with marketing strategies. And that's exactly what you ladies are doing right now. Now it's time to not only rely on referrals, but start growing our business, maybe create an agency, maybe add other products and services to our ladder. And the way that we start to do that is through trialing and testing out new channels or new strategies that are not just referral based. But I think that when people get started, they think, oh my gosh, I have to market my business on every channel. And that's where I'm going to find clients. And while, yes, there are certain areas you have to double down in to find clients online at first, the majority of the businesses that we see that became successful and replace, let's say, their 9 to 5 income, if that's your goal, was based off referrals. And that's simply providing an amazing customer experience and then asking for the referrals. They're in the circles with other people that you want to probably work with.
And that's so true.
Yeah.
And I love all that you said there, because it is, I think sometimes like in this industry, like when you come into it, you're just bombarded with all the things you have to do. And you just get so overwhelmed. And I think just simplifying it, like you said, and just really focusing, since like referrals are a big thing, I think for many, and just really honing down on that process. And nobody really talked about that either. Like, hone in on your process, focus on that, do those things, and then you will get referrals because people will love it. And like people didn't say that, like that was just something that we did, and then we saw people were coming back and like, your process is amazing, your process this and that. And we were like, oh, wow, okay, well, then this is great. And then clients came from that and then that. And, and I think that is just I'm glad that we can talk about that here. Like if there's anybody in that place that, if you can really focus on your process and not like be so stressed out about everything else, and like just focus on your referrals, focus on that first, and then you can just start like dripping in social media, anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Such a great place that we took that conversation. And as we're wrapping up here, I have one final question. I ask everybody this, and we did already kind of talk about it. So it's okay if you have the same answer, but how has starting your own business led to more freedom and fulfillment in your life?
Yeah, I love that. I honestly love the question, because I just feel like I feel like we don't sit down and reflect on it enough. And once we do, we're like, wow, like I could never, like I worked in a kindergarten before, like the online world. And that was from 9 to 5. And that was like I don't even know how I handled it, like honestly now, because now my life is so different.
Yeah.
And I can like now we're like we've done we've prioritized all the clients, everything is good to go, like all the things. And just today we were like, you know what, we can actually take the day off tomorrow and like just take a long weekend. And that was like we couldn't have done that. Like we were always reliant on like our work, and like we can just take a day off because you you have to be there.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely sitting down, reflecting on, we can just have like a work week from Monday to Thursday and like just take the Friday off because we can do it. And that has been definitely the biggest thing for me, that we can do those things and we don't have to tell our boss 2 months before to take a day off if we're want to. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. So
Yeah, I was still in school at the time, so I can't just take, okay, I'm taking Friday off, bye. That didn't work. So yeah, I was still in school at the time, and then we went to college in the States, but we dropped out. So, and then of course we found your ad, and after that we never looked back. It was amazing. I couldn't, yeah. So thank you for the ad.
You're so welcome. Thank you for taking the courses and utilizing what was in there, and now kind of having this full circle moment, sharing your journey and possibly inspiring a listener to take that next step and become an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
totally.
for sure.
Yeah.
It really did change our lives, and that's
Yeah.
why we were so eager for the podcast here too, because it was just it's where everything started for us, and it completely, like we have no idea where we were even be today if it wasn't for it. So it's funny how things
everything worked out.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. And before I let you go, can you share with our listeners where they can find you or connect with you, or anything you have to share with them?
Yeah. So you can connect with us on, we're a lot on Instagram, so you can connect with us there at Elle Elle Design Co. And our website is also at elleelledesignco.com. And yeah, we offer branding and show it website design. And we really want to help women stand out in a unique, authentic approach. We really preach authenticity and showing up as yourself, and that is in personal branding. And that's what we really want to help women entrepreneurs do as well, is really just shine through as unique as they are and help them do that. And that is, and we also have, we have a freebie actually.
Perfect.
To our new, I can't even speak, for our newsletter. Which is a link tree, a show it link tree page, because we've seen so many link trees that are just so off-brand. They're so ugly. And we were like, you know what? We need to create something that looks really nice, really clean, and just a place. So if you have a Show It account, then you can download this, add it to your account, and then use that. And then you gain all the traffic to your site and not to an external third-party app. Yeah. So
Perfect. I love that. I'll include that in the show notes, and I'm actually going to check it out myself as well. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your journey. This was such a fun conversation.
It really was.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. It was so much fun.
Yeah,
and
loved it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you to everybody listening, and I will see you in another episode of the Freedom Filled Life podcast. Bye for now.